Friends, if you want to watch super hit movie, A Madea Christmas in English, then you must like this video. If you are visiting our channel for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, friends. In today's video, the movie we're going to talk about is called A Madea Christmas. We will talk about what this movie is and where you can watch it, all the interesting facts about this movie in today's video. I am going to tell you, I am also going to give you all the information on which platform or on which satellite channel you will get to watch this movie. Also, we will talk in detail about the technical department, music department, pre-production, filming, post-production, budget, box office collection of this film. We'll also talk about the story of this film, and I will also give you a small review of the story of this film. Apart from this, we will discuss about the facts of this film storyline, star cast, actors' performance in the film, and which character has played which role. That's why I request you, friends, to watch this video till the end. So let's start the video. A Madea Christmas is a 2013 American Christmas Die film directed, written, produced by and starring Tyler Perry, with the rest of the cast consisting of Kathy Najimy, Chad Michael Murray, Anna Maria Horsford, Tika Sumpter, Eric Lively, J.R. Lemon, Alicia Witt, Lisa Whelchel, and Larry the Cable Guy. This is the first Christmas-themed film from the writer-director, as it tells the story of Madea going to the fictional town of Bucktussle, Alabama, with her great-niece to spend Christmas with the great-niece's daughter, as financial trouble involving a newly constructed dam threatens the town. This is the 17th film by Perry and the 8th film in the Madea cinematic universe. The film was released on December 13, 2013 by Lionsgate. A Madea Christmas grossed $53.4 million worldwide. Plot: in Atlanta, Georgia, Mabel, Madea Simmons has been talked into getting a job at a local store by her niece, Eileen Murphy. Madea gets fired on her first day. Meanwhile, Eileen's daughter, Lacey Williams, a teacher at a small school in Bucktussle, Alabama, is married to a white man named Connor, whose plans to grow special corn earned him the ire of corn farmer Tanner McCoy, his school bully. The school, run by Principal Nancy Porter, does not have enough money to fund their annual Christmas jubilee, forcing Lacey to ask her ex-boyfriend Oliver to fund the school through his business. While having spoken to Tanner and his wife Amber about the progress of their son Bailey in school, Lacey calls her mother and says she will be unable to come home for Christmas. But Eileen, determined to see her daughter, brings Madea and Oliver with her to visit. Eileen hopes that Lacey and Oliver might still work out as a couple. She does not know that Lacey is married to a white man, which is not what she wanted for Lacey. Lacey brings Oliver to a town meeting and asks Madea to look after her class. A girl named Lucy steals Medea's purse, while Madea tells the class a rather unorthodox version of the story of the first Christmas. When she finds her purse is missing, she loses her temper and ties Lucy to a cross decoration in the classroom, much to the dismay of Lacey and Principal Porter. Connor's parents, Buddy and Kim, arrive at Connor and Lacey's house for Christmas and are told to keep the marriage a secret since Eileen is staying for Christmas as well. Eileen offends Kim by cutting down her father's memory tree. Though she didn't realize the meaning, Eileen shows no remorse for the act. She is convinced Buddy and Kim are part of the Ku Klux Klan after seeing Buddy with a sheet over his head, though he was merely engaging in foreplay with Kim, and promptly bars the door to the room she and Madea are sharing. Lacey finds out that the sponsors, called the Sheldon Construction Company, are forcing the school to make the Jubilee a holiday theme as opposed to a Christmas theme, and that they are responsible for many of the town's citizens losing their jobs, as well as their dam cutting off their land's access to the river. Angered by these facts, Tanner demands that the mayor of Bucktussle fire Lacey, which the mayor does. Lacey's conflict at home reaches a boiling point when Eileen and Kim argue. Lacey tells the truth about her marriage to Connor, and Eileen's true feelings about whites are revealed. Her husband left her for a white woman. Eileen had lied to Lacey all those years, saying he was killed by a white man. Hypocritically angered by the lies she has heard, Eileen storms out vainly hoping for a taxi to pick her up. Lacey admits to Connor that Tanner caused her to lose her job, setting Connor off. As Eileen walks into town, she sees Tanner in his overturned burning truck and saves his life. Connor walks up to the scene and punches Tanner before demanding Eileen get in his truck. Madea and Connor's parents advise Eileen to accept Lacey's marriage. With Amber with him, Tanner arrives to apologize for everything and to thank Eileen for saving him, as he will also speak with the mayor on rehiring Lacey tomorrow. Connor finally gets Tanner to listen about his corn-growing plans. At the Christmas Jubilee with her family, Lacey thanks the Sheldon Construction Company and announces their promises to help Buck tussle, which were not in the original agreement, by letting some water out of their dam, knowing the repercussions the company would face if they were to back out. She reveals to Oliver that she is married to Connor as the school's students led by Bailey start singing. Cast Tyler Perry as Mabel Madea Simmons, Kathy Najimy as Kim Williams, Chad Michael Murray as Tanner McCoy, Anna Maria Horsford as Eileen Murphy, Tika Sumpter as Lacey Williams, née Murphy, Eric Lively as Connor Williams, J.R. Lemon as Oliver, Alicia Witt as Amber McCoy, Lisa Welchel as Principal Nancy Porter, Larry the Cable Guy as Buddy Williams, Noah Uria as Bailey McCoy, Ashley Heath as Audrey, Caroline Kennedy as Lucy, Steve Bowles as the mayor of Bucktussle, Sweet Brown as herself, Antoine Dodson as YouTube Guy, Jonathan Chase as Alfred Vicky Eng as Customer Number 6, Daniel Mann as Austin Soundtrack. The soundtrack for the film was released in stores by Motown Records November 25th. This was the first soundtrack to a Tyler Perry film since 2010's For Colored Girls and the first Madea soundtrack since 2006's Madea's Family Reunion and 2008's Meet the Browns. It featured Smokey Robinson, Mariah Carey, Brian McKnight, James Brown, Kem, Boyz II Men, Kelly Rowland, Jeremiah, Stevie Wonder, Jackson 5, Pearl Bailey, Ashanti, Kevin Ross, and Imprint. Reception. Critical response. A Madea Christmas received negative reviews from critics. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a 20% rating, based on 35 reviews, with the consensus. It boasts a few laughs, but overall, Tyler Perry's A Madea Christmas ranks among Perry's least entertaining or substantive works. On Metacritic, the film has a score of 28 out of 100, based on 20 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an A- grade. Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly gave the film a grade B-, but said that it felt like reruns. Tyler Perry's movies haven't gotten any worse, but they haven't gotten better either, so they now carry the added disadvantage of overfamiliarity. Variety called it an exceptionally poor piece of holiday cash-in product, rushed and ungainly even by the low standard set by Perry's 7 previous Madea films, yet it should be every bit as profitable. The Hollywood Reporter wrote, "Bah humbug to this latest screen outing for Tyler Perry's inexplicably popular character," and criticized the clunky narrative and the hackneyed dialogue. Home media A Madea Christmas was released on Blu-ray and DVD on November 25, 2014. The DVD contains a first look at the opening of the then-upcoming animated feature Madea's Tough Love. See also List of Christmas films. Tyler Perry's Madea franchise, based on his popular one-man shows, is an unstoppable juggernaut with a built-in audience. It features the adventures and mishaps of one Aunt Madea, played by Perry himself in drag. Madea is a road of least resistance, truth-talking loudmouth granny, enveloped in gigantic moo-moos and surrounded by dimwit members of her own family, who either cower in fear of her or underestimate her ability to cut through their malarkey. She is a living Ms. Malaprop of Perry's alternate universe, spouting homespun grammatically incorrect wisdom, and if you can't stand being in her presence, then the Madea movies will be a nightmare. I happen to find the shtick rather funny, especially when her eyes go dead and flat at the same time that she laughingly bulldozes her way into the heart of a situation. She has no illusions about anyone. Please. Those died a long time ago. But the surrounding shtick of the movies? There we run into problems. It's heavy with unvarnished propaganda and trucks in broad stereotypes and manipulative pulling of the heartstrings. So it's a mixed and annoying bag, and A Madea Christmas is no different. The story told here is both simple and mind-bendingly complex. First, there's the opening scene with Madea dressed up in a Santa suit, being roped into working at an upscale department store by her niece Eileen, Anna Maria Horsford, who appears to be a straight-up sociopath. Things do not go well when Madea straight-talks a poor plump woman who wants to buy some lingerie and also takes personal phone calls while standing at her station. Madea is fired, and she storms out of the store huffing and puffing. Meanwhile, exposition is thrown at us in messy splotches. Eileen is upset that her daughter Lacey, who has moved to a small town in Alabama to teach at an elementary school, is not coming home for Christmas. Eileen wants to go surprise her for Christmas, but there is the small problem that Eileen does not drive. Lucky for Eileen, Lacey, Tika Sumpter, is deeply embroiled in her own plot-heavy situation, involving a thwarted Christmas jubilee, no funds, and an encounter with a yearning ex-boyfriend, J.R. Lemon, who just happens to work for a big corporation which is looking to sponsor just such an event, and they are ready to hand over an appalling $100,000 to the school. He, in the hopes that he can spark up his old romance with Lacey, decides to drive down to Alabama with the contract in person, and so Eileen and Madea hitch a ride. You got all that? But there are more plot twists. Lacey has secretly eloped with a white man named Connor, Eric Lively, and he is the main reason Lacey does not want to come home for Christmas. Her mother, as Lacey tells Connor, has a bad heart, and all these dreams for her daughter and marrying a white man is not part of the plan. And her mother very well may have a heart attack upon hearing the news. Unfortunately, Connor's parents are also visiting for Christmas. They are played, entertainingly, by Larry the Cable Guy and Kathy Najimy, upping the weird factor considerably. And the two cars holding the in-laws unknown to one another arrive at Lacey and Connor's house within minutes of one another. Lacey, trapped in her web of lies, ropes in her new in-laws to keep up the facade that Connor is just a hired man until she can figure out a way to break the bad news to Mom. Hijinks ensue. Mom, as I mentioned, is a sociopath and is rude to the white folks, wondering what the hell they are doing hanging around her daughter's house. Madea stalks around, sizing up the entire situation and barking inappropriate comments in mixed company about farts and sexual encounters. Connor's mom and pop are hillbillies out of the Deliverance playbook, bearing possum pie and moonshine, and a rebuild sex life which they are not afraid to discuss in public, mortifying everyone, except Madea, who is delighted. Lacey's mom is the biggest racist in the film, and that's saying a lot seeing as there is one scene where Madea stumbles into an actual Ku Klux Klan meeting and refuses to treat the white people in her midst with even the barest bones of politeness. Larry the Cable Guy and Madea get along like a house afire, which is one of the more bizarre elements of the film, ripe with comedic possibilities, some of which actually come to fruition. The two of them stand out in the pigsty on a cold winter morning discussing racial politics and common-sense matters of the heart, wondering why everyone in the world can't be as discerning as they are. But there's more. And here's where Perry heaps on the propaganda with a shovel loaned to him by Fox News. The sponsorship of the Christmas Jubilee is contingent upon the Jubilee being renamed the Holiday Jubilee. The $100,000 will be rescinded pronto if a nativity is allowed on the premises. The townspeople are up in arms, and then of course, it is revealed that the corporation in question is the one funding the dam upriver, which has put all of the farmers out of work. Lacey is summarily fired. Her boss, played by Lisa Whelchel, the iconic Blair from Facts of Life, is devastated. But what can one person do against so many? And it's just not right to keep Christ out of Christmas anyway, that's for damn sure. You know, you're through the looking glass when the war on Christmas is treated not only like a real thing as opposed to a ridiculous bogeyman created by those with cultural axes to grind, but the thing that bonds all of these different types of people together. On the one hand, it's outrageous and stupid. On the other hand, the schmaltz in individual moments of sentiment have an undeniable pull, as most schmaltz does. That's the way it was designed. So I feel manipulated, and then think, oh hell, whatever, I don't care. It's an odd experience. Not altogether pleasant, but interesting nonetheless. The subplots proliferate. A sweet young student of Lacey's, Noah Areu, has a beautiful voice and yet is afraid to sing in the Christmas Jubilee because he is bullied by his classmates for being just a dirty farm boy. His father, Chad Michael Murray, is one of the angry farmers in the town, and also, it turns out, was a bully himself as a young boy who tormented Connor mercilessly in school. What goes around, comes around. Will the spirit of Christmas melt his heart? Will the spirit of Christmas make Mom stop being such a pain in the ass? And most importantly, will a nativity be allowed at the Christmas Jubilee? The film is chopped up episodically, with Christmas clip art of bells and snowflakes wiping across the screen, leaving a trail of glitter, cheap-looking and silly, and the whole thing feels thrown together in a hilarious weekend. Even with the poor editing and somewhat lazy filmmaking, and the strange details which caught my eye when I had to check out of the plot to save my sanity. Why does Lacey dress for her job teaching fourth graders as though she is going out clubbing? When Madea is on screen, at least you know what universe you are in, and there is something interesting and insane to watch. Otherwise, you are thrust into an abyss of meaninglessness and plot-heavy maneuvering overlaid with Christian propaganda that wears out its welcome with the first line of exposition. By Aaron Snyder, December 8, 2010. This review definitely needs to start with an aside. What Tyler Perry, the creator and actor behind Madea, managed to accomplish is nothing short of awe-inspiring. He created a series of plays, films, and television shows that appealed to grossly underrepresented audiences, and as a result, he's become one of the most successful producers in entertainment. His personal story is inspiring. The fact I felt I needed to open with all of that isn't a great sign. God, I wanted this movie to surprise me. I went in knowing that Perry's work has never appealed to critics, but I really wanted to be able to offer a dissenting opinion. No such luck. Aside from a handful of good jokes and one or two compelling dramatic beats, this was an awful movie. The film opens with Madea working in a department store, along with her great niece, Eileen. This segment is basically a prolonged excuse for Perry to ad-lib Madea farcically interacting with customers. The jokes didn't land for me at all, but I suppose your mileage could vary. After she's fired, Madea gets talked into accompanying Eileen on a road trip to surprise Eileen's daughter, Lacey, for Christmas. They're also, briefly, accompanied by Lacey's ex from high school, who's driving down to negotiate a supposedly philanthropic donation from an anonymous corporation to the town. The ominous paperwork alone is more than sufficient to telegraph there's trouble brewing. Blatant foreshadowing aside, this segment at least connects the A and B plots. Don't get used to this, however. This will more or less be the last time they interact until the end awkwardly tries to tie everything together. The A plot surprisingly has little to do with Lacey's ex, the Christmas celebration, or the evil corporation. Likewise, it isn't concerned with Lacey's job as a school teacher or the gifted boy being tormented by his classmates and his own father. That would be the C plot for those keeping track. The C plot actually does interact with the B plot, insofar as Bailey, the aforementioned kid's father, also overreacts to the inevitable discovery that the evil corporation making the donation is the same one operating a dam that's preventing the town's farms from making ends meet. But we're about an hour ahead of ourselves here, and all of that is peripheral to what the movie's actually about. So Lacey, a black woman, recently eloped with Connor, a white guy, without telling her mom, who's shown up out of the blue along with Madea. Making matters worse, Connor's parents arrive as well. How long can Lacey maintain the lie to keep from disappointing her judgmental mother? Cue laugh track. Rethink life decisions that caused us to place this in our Netflix queue. Did I mention Larry the Cable Guy plays Connor's dad? Well, let's ignore that, because we haven't even touched on the D plot yet. Connor is a smart kid who never learned to stand up for himself, particularly when it comes to his childhood bully, Tanner. Naturally, Tanner is Bailey's dad, and he's got no patience for all of Connor's schooling in science. Nor is he interested in hearing about the modified crop Connor's working on that could help them grow corn with less water. Also, Connor's such a beta male, he tries milking a bull. That doesn't really impact the plot one way or another. But I feel like it tells you a lot about this movie. Ultimately, all of these threads, with the exception of Connor not being masculine enough, connect back to Lacey, which would be a good thing if they actually interacted. But while events are happening concurrently, they're rarely discussed in the same scenes. For example, Tanner gets Lacey fired from her job, then Lacey goes home and interacts with her mother. The movie doesn't even imply that the fallout from her professional career imploding compounds with her personal drama. It's as though they filmed this before determining what order everything would occur. Let's back up a bit and delve into the details of Lacey's firing and the surrounding storyline. On top of playing out like a separate story, it has its own theme. And that theme is, wait for it, keeping Christ in Christmas. It gets worse. The evil corporation, aided by Lacey's ex, tricked the town into signing a contract that would make the town Christmas celebrations secular in nature. When all of this comes to light, Tanner forces the mayor to fire Lacey. Let's review. A public school teacher is fired for unintentionally connecting the town with a donor who requires them to not promote religion at a public event. Unlike in school, where there's a giant wooden cross displayed in class, and the children are taught about Jesus. In case the Jewish coding wasn't already obvious, the evil corporation is called Sheldon Construction. I would like to congratulate Tyler Perry for winning the Mainlining Christmas Award for the worst implementation of Christ in Christmas bullshit we have ever seen. This isn't remotely how anything works. But all this is pushed to the back burner so we can focus on Eileen finally learning the truth. Actually, there's a lot of truth learning. Since we also find out that Eileen's been lying to Lacey about why she has so many issues with white people. All this is happening on Christmas Eve, and everyone tries and fails to convince Eileen to set aside her anti-white prejudices and join her family. Instead, she decides to walk to town and catch a bus back to the city. Meanwhile, the B-plot finally gets referenced when Lacey tells Connor that it was Tanner who got her fired. Furious, Connor heads to his truck, planning to drive to Tanner's and finally kick his ass. Larry the cable guy comes along for the ride. Cut back to Eileen walking along the road. She sees an overturned truck which has caught fire and runs over to help the man trapped inside. It's Tanner. She pulls him to safety just before the truck explodes and, no, I didn't skip anything. We're never shown the accident where the truck flips over or given any context. Tanner is bruised and in shock, limping away from the wreck while Eileen helps him. Then Connor pulls over, tells him to get away from his mother-in-law, and proceeds to punch him in the face. It's all in view of the burning wreckage of Tanner's truck. It's clear that Tanner's hurt and confused, but Connor's blinded by rage and feels like he's protecting his wife. Once he's let Tanner know who the real alpha dog is, he yells at Eileen and tells her to get in his truck. Then they drive off, leaving Tanner on the side of the road beside his burning truck on Christmas Eve. And whatever you're waiting for, it's not coming. The scene I just described is intended to represent a culmination in Connor's arc. Not only is there no comeuppance, Tanner shows up a scene later to apologize for getting Lacey fired, to thank Eileen for saving him, and to give them all a pie for Christmas. I would like to stop once more, this time to congratulate Tyler Perry on winning the Mainlining Christmas Award for worst Christmas plot resolution we've ever seen. The next day, Lacey salvages the festival by running on stage and thanking Sheldon Construction for pledging 4 times as much money as they actually promised, agreeing to release significantly more water from their dam, and agreeing to let the town include religious elements in the party. We're supposed to believe that saying this is enough to tie the corporation's hands, and everything's fine. Cue Bailey to start lip-syncing and roll credits. Yeah. Not the experience I was hoping for. That said, synopsizing both undersells and oversells certain elements. Structurally, this movie was a mess. I think that comes through. But that doesn't mean every line was awful. One of the odder aspects of this movie was that there were some really good moments sprinkled throughout. There's a sequence culminating in Madea using Christmas lights to bind a bratty kid to the wooden cross I mentioned earlier that's outright hilarious. Likewise, there are some genuinely funny moments, including some, I'm astonished to admit, coming from Larry the Cable Guy. Then there's the theme of the A-plot. The theme to the B-plot is utter garbage, but the A-plot's is harder to summarize. If anything, I might call it tragic in hindsight. The movie seems to be primarily addressing older, more conservative members of a predominantly black audience, and it's asking them to consider their own prejudices. Much like The Big Sick several years later, A Madea Christmas tells a story where an interracial couple is embraced by white in-laws but shunned by minorities. In this movie, Part of this involved having the white parents still be a little racist, or at the very least politically incorrect. But the ultimate conclusion was that they were good people deep down, and that America, particularly white America, was evolving. It was saying that, despite a racist past and lingering problems, white people as a whole deserve the benefit of the doubt. I think it was a fine sentiment in 2013 when the movie came out. But it's worth noting Perry was wrong. Connor's parents were reminiscent of Roseanne. I'd even go so far as to wonder if his name was an illusion, and it's hard to imagine them voting for Hillary. Overall, this was an extremely badly made film. I haven't even touched on the editing, which is about as bad as theatrically released movies get. But despite all of that, it did deliver a handful of solid moments, effective gags, and decent drama. Plus, most of the cast did good work, with the exception of the title character. It's not worth seeing, but I've sat through things significantly more painful. Comedy Aaron Snyder movie Religious directed by Tyler Perry, written by Tyler Perry, produced by Tyler Perry AZR, starring Tyler Perry, Kathy Nachad, Michael Murray, Anna Maria Horford, Taka Sumpter, Eric Lively, Gio Lemon, Alicia Whitley-Silshall, Larry the Cable Guy, cinematography Alexander Kinski, edited by Maisie Hoy, music by Christopher Young, production company Tyler Perry Studios, distributed by Lionsgate, release date December 13, 2013, running time 100 minutes, country United States, language English, budget $25 million, box office $53.4 million. So guys, this is their view of A Madea Christmas movie and some information about it. How do you like our today's video? Please let us know by commenting, and if you like this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.